So if you allow me to ask a first question, I would ask our second presenter, Alfred, what is the connection or the lessons learned to the historic buildings in Vienna? What is your opinion?
Hello? Yeah. Oh, good question. Good question. I think that we have been educated, my generation, in a time where every project had to be sort of unique. And of course, we still aim for unique projects in certain circumstances. But what we more and more learn from the old town is that it doesn't need so much to make a good town. And if you look in the quarters, depending on the period they have been built, normally you have a wall to the street, and then 5.50 meters back you have the next wall, and the slabs are all identical. So this has something to do with the dimension of the wood, and has something to do with what we heard earlier about wood construction. The windows were identical. The decoration was a little bit varied, and in the end, these are sometimes very pleasant streets, which are even today, especially if the parked cars are removed, very attractive, and people pay a lot of money to live in that kind of streets. So what is a little bit the sign of the time is to find back to a differentiation in architecture, so that not any building task is the task to express somebody's overblown identity, but to sort of level the things a little bit, and to bring in, especially when the circumstances, when the kind of the building task, and especially when the natural surrounding and so on. So in answer to the situations, but that's something we learned from. We learn more and more from the existing town as we love it. Yes.
Thank you very much, Alfred. And now the question which I was supposed to ask us first, Sampa, as you were first in the block. The question for you, because we speak a lot about very sophisticated solutions, and sometimes they're a bit hard to see how to implement them, especially in our context. So do you have any easy solutions or low-hanging fruit we could all do that would surely be a good move?
Well, it is probably quite confusing for everybody in this field, because there's so much information and so many opinions. It's hard to decide if we should do build from concrete, because there's also green concrete and green steel. If we should maybe do like the Cree kind of solutions with hybrid solutions. So there's so many opinions, it's difficult to kind of know who's right and who has propaganda for their own financial reasons and who is just stupid. But I think the one no-brainer would be that, like, we have already come to a conclusion that we should build less, because that's at least something that really reduces the all the emissions and gas house effects. So if we can build less, and when we have to build, we should use timber. That's at least one pretty easy and obvious way to do good for this planet. And maybe also one thing is that I'm a meat eater, but I've decided to eat only 50% of the meat. So half of the time when I eat something else than red meat. If everybody on this planet did the same, that would cut the meat producing in half.
Okay, so we have also dietary recommendations. Thank you. But yes, we spoke about using the timber, and we know we have the initiative, but there are different kind of regulations, and we always speak about the limits that come from regulations. And although these are not the regulations you are in charge, Milota, but I would like to take the opportunity that this is your second time or second year being with us. And last year we have discussed like all kinds of ambitious plans you had in changing the regulation in favor of having the more opportunity for sustainable solutions also in Slovakia. So what did I do last year?
Yes,
basically
that's
please.
The question. No, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I found it very therapeutical and inspiring to look at all of your projects, because if you work for the state and if you work in urban planning, you always set the frames and rules, and basically what you do is the result of, if you set the regulation in favor, then you can have very good result. If you do it in wrong way, then the results are bad, you know. So it was like, I always say urban planning is something like an operation system, and the architecture is the application you have on your smartphone. If you have a wrong operation system, then the applications are weak. If you have strong, then they are stronger. So now, being the end of metaphor, I'm the vice president for the State Authority of Construction and Spatial Planning. Last year I was here, and I've basically named 3 things that I consider obstacles in building compact and more efficient cities, especially in Slovakia. Very namely, the enemy number 1 for me was lack of good rules in which cities can design their master plans. And I'm not only saying like height or like how much square area you should build, but how much ecological regulations can put inside. What about water drainage? What about aesthetics? What about shape of maybe roofs or colors or anything that you can bring? So we needed good rules. Thankfully, this building reform hasn't died completely. 50% is alive and valid from 1st of April. So I can honestly say that we have 24 more regulations which cities and villages in Slovakia can use to create a very good master plans for themselves. So I was checking, maybe all 3 of your projects could actually emerge. And it would be less problem. First thing. Okay. Second enemy of was why do we have so many cars in the cities? And Bratislava is like 355, and everything is rotating around cars, and the distances of the buildings and everything. It's like we have cars instead of brain. So then enemy number 2 was parking regulation, which was like one general number for any kind of situation. And this was not of my making, but I'm quite happy that this new transportation law norm, which is valid, can allow cities to reduce parking norm up to 30% in the areas which they decide they want. So we can have much more compact places with less cars. So I think we can have more public space or more space for architecture. And the enemy number 3 for me was, again, general rule how we should do the lighting norm, you know.
Yeah.
Because we have the only angle like 30, and everybody should have a lot of light, and that is why we have such enormous distances. This thing we are still battling for. So then the master plans, if we decide to do something compact, we will not lose in the second term when we actually do building permits. So I can see one of my allies, Nora, in front line, and of course some like samosprávy, cities have joined this, let's say, municipalities have joined this, let's say, call for change, and also construction engineers. So I want to congratulate those who are open-minded to think outside of the box, which we were, or outside of the norm, which we had for past 60 years. We have very good intentions. So this is a project in ongoing. So I can say maybe 75% of what I promised is already done. And now I think it needs also good political leadership to carry on, because this is never-ending message. And what is now on the plate is the law for construction. And it will be a question how this construction norm can follow the master planning law. and how it can maybe honor the principles of ecological and more complexities that is already in practice. So, long answer, I hope you somehow could relate to the Slovak atmosphere. And again, I'm very happy to be here.
Thank you very much, Milota. And as we had this already all day speaking about the regulations, it's good to have the overview of what was successful, and let's see what happens with the other 50% of the building regulations. And Marek, you wanted to...
Yeah, I have a question for you, Milan. We all say things and we all say information which we work with, but it's all about the mindset. And the current generation has a mindset which resulted into the situation we have at the moment. You are lecturing. How about the young generation? How you as a lecturer see the future when you have a look at the young generation? Is the mindset different? And will the things get fixed better with the mindset the young generation has, or this is not the best way how to do it? And think about it.
It's not an... Hello?
Yeah,
It's working?
Yeah.
It's not an easy question, obviously. Of course, they are different.
Hard topics.
Yeah. We were kind of hard... We were discussing this before. We were hard workers and working kind of over hours all the time and this and that. Now, the younger generation is obviously different, and they have different focuses. I don't know where this leads to, but maybe all this stuff, maybe also, I believe also that maybe the world, we are talking about how to save the world, of how to, it cannot be saved from above, also it cannot be saved from legislation. Maybe it can be just saved from below, from everybody who is working, and all this talking that we are doing all the time, it's maybe just changing our minds, maybe not ours that much, that younger generations much more. Yeah, and I also kind of can observe that they are different also in the needs. I believe that they don't need so much. We just waited to get the driver license, to get the first car and the second and whatever, bigger apartment. They don't have these needs anymore that much. Maybe this is a consequence of, I don't know, maybe just generation change, but maybe also this talking about those topics helps something. Yeah.
Thank you.
May I have a little
Please.
addition or maybe a little bit opposing opinion? I'm not sure if I understood correctly, but I kind of feel it frustrating from my point of view, even if I would like to be part of the change, since we have this financial system that encourages us to consume more and have constant growth. It's really difficult to have these and kind of work or do something against the current system. So tomorrow when I go back to work, I'm going to have to be building buildings that are not good for this planet, because that's the only way I make my living. So I kind of, at least I'm hoping that there would be some change in legislation that would kind of change the game for everybody, so that the rules would be different but same for everybody. So we would actually not be allowed to do any more harm for the planet. So I'm kind of, because I think it's a really big pressure for us down here to make the change, because we can't really, we have to make our living. But if the rules were changed, then we would all have to play according to the new rules.
Milan.
Tax the energy. Huh? No, I'm always saying, because we are talking about the parameters, so maybe it's not just to govern or to design the society. It is just about changing the parameters. I don't know why the governments are not coming to the idea, tax the energy. If the energy is so kind of harmful for the planet, and if the concrete is cheap, but it is full of, you have to burn a lot of, I don't know, coal or whatever it is, tax the coal, tax the energy, and then the timber will be cheaper than the concrete, and the problem is solved. There is no need to talk so much why the timber is better and more sustainable and concrete is worse. Tax what is worse, and
We should have sanctions for the bad things and subsidies for the good things. That's very simple, but that comes from the government.
But nobody wants to lose the election. Yeah, nobody wants to lose the election.
You won't sell it to the government like this. You have to bring them financial incentive of how much they will save and what will be the political gain of the timber versus current status quo. So I get you, but it needs some kind of pressure and argumentation that we can go this way.
It's crazy that the glaciers are melting and still we kind of look at just the next quarter financially or the next elections and nobody can really have the guts to react. So it's really sad.
That brings me to the next question for you, Milota. What is the right pressure for you?
This is a question of when the society will change. I believe it's gradual. Like, for example, maybe, have you noticed that there is so many vegetarians on this planet compared to the last 60 years? Maybe the change didn't happen because one person or one country pressed for it, but it became somehow part of mainstream. So somehow political savvy and pragmatic, I would say, if we can do as many pilots and have good ambassadors, somehow it will become very fashionable and you get those influencers, then they will be friends with politicians, la 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 la, and a small thing will change or become a norm or new lifestyle. That's the first thing. And the second thing, I think what the life on a political level taught me is you cannot never aim for 100% because you will never get it. And if you do, you will be very frustrated because politics is totally out of your control. So now I satisfy myself that maybe I am now one year step ahead than I was year before.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And this is how you mount the pressure, and you always need good allies. So that's the answer. But for this, the more projects like this we can build in our lifetime. I know I have to do some commercial work, but then again, I will be happy about 3 very good projects which will set a legacy for maybe next generation. Maybe that's the answer, unless there is some abrupt change like Greta Thunberg or whatever.
I would take it as a compliment for the presentations we had today, which were examples what can be done and how. It was beautiful. And it was beautiful.
And also the whole event here is actually a very good sign of 20 years ago this would have been hippie bullshit and there'd be 5 people here. I would not be here. But people with authority and power actually bother to come here and have use their time for wondering what's going to happen to the planet. I think that's a good sign. So we're all on the right path.
Thank you so much. And although we might let the ideas grow even more, but I think we are just at the level when we might return to architecture, if that's fine. And I would like to take the opportunity to ask from Alfred. You had the title of your speech, Architecture is the Backbone of Sustainability. And I would like to return to this principle, if that's fine.
Yes. The title was not provocative against engineers or so. It was just to say we basically. I was happy to hear it also from Jakob in a certain way and from you in a certain way. We still have the responsibility as architects and the task to bring together all these things, to make propositions, to evaluate, and to make a circle with the various things. We cannot judge everything. We need a team. We need we are not experts in everything. But that's the one thing. And the second thing is, which is even more important, if you do all the technical efforts into building and it has a bad architecture, it will be a short-time investment. That's also something that came in various voices today. But that's my conviction that the thing that survives is the house. The technology, even if we need it today, I looked into the tabella from the for the Gewährleistung for the reliance. The technical installations in Austria, it's 10 years. Yes, and the building is 40 years. So after 10 years, you have no more. Everything can be out of fashion, and you have to change it. So buildings need to take account in that sense that eventually technology should be reduced, to a minimum, because if in 10 years the people living in the house have to pay for a new technology, they will not have the money. So also these are things that are in a certain euphoric approach to super technological houses problematic, because who pays for that if the thing goes down? Everybody knows it in his own house. When the fridge is broken, you have to buy a new fridge, but if the heating is broken, and so on. I don't want to go too much into that, but putting more and more technology in houses is something that's depending on economical possibilities, also for the future generation. But the house as such should sustain on many generations, and this can only be due to architecture.
Thank you, Alfred.
Sorry, I should have my own shown. Oh, wait, I do.
You're going to disagree.
The good point is about the technology. If you look out the other side of the river, the buildings that have lasted longer are the ones without almost no technology. The castle or any of these buildings. So best way to save the buildings or make them last long is that leave all the technology out.
Okay. Again, very interesting principle. And we have some questions and last 2.5 minutes. So I see a question. We know that the 3L concept, low energy, long life, loose fit, meaning adaptability. And what would you add to those keywords today, not necessarily starting with L? So low energy, long life, loose fit, or adaptability. And I think this is a question to end for anyone who feels like to comment.
Milan looks like
no,
he's not really feeling like answering the question.
So what elements should be added to a building that would like a...
Love. Love. Thank you.
But it's true that buildings that are loved, they usually are already loved when they are like built in that way, that they're meant to last for a long time. All the churches and castles that are made for somebody to actually love them for centuries, they last. It's a very good element.
Actually, I think Jakob mentioned in his presentation love as an important element. So that if you love the building, you maintain it. So and probably that's the cue of maintenance, little cues that prompt you to take care.
The power of love protects the building. But for example, if you see graffitis in house entrances and house entrances without graffitis, I think that's a quite interesting comparison. Usually those with graffitis are brutal to the people, and so the people are brutal to the house. So that's a very natural exchange.
Thank you very much, Alfred.
If you let me, I would...
Milota.
Just like when you said love, it's sometimes so shocking to sell the new European Bauhaus on the government level because there is the word beauty. So now let's put it into more extremes, and another political lesson. Make it more extreme, because when they cut it down, then something stays. So if I add love, everybody will be laughing, so they will accept the beauty. So smart, very smart.
And I'll cut the love topic for now. We can carry on afterwards. And I have a question to Milan, which is completely different comparing to the previous questions. What kind of parametric software was used in a park in Koper?
What kind of
parametric software was used?
To speak about the name of the software?
No, we are using Grasshopper mostly. Right now in combination with Grasshopper, this is kind of the best tool, and it's also a free tool that you can use, and it's a community that is building around these tools, and we are finding this very useful also in kind of inserting the parameters into the and also helping us with drawings, because it's not easy to draw kind of 500 sections with dimensions in 3 days without proper tools. Yeah, it would not be possible. Of course, could be possible, but not with fonts that we have on disposal. Yeah. And now it becomes easy to do this. Yeah. So it is easier and easier, and we can include more and more of that knowledge, and we are not alone, of course, and this is the kind of sea of opportunities that is waiting for us, and maybe everybody should embrace. But these parametric things are having kind of, I see the very big potential in them. So it's also in terms of sustainability. It's just kind of controlling the airflow to the building, controlling the lights entry.
So evaluating the parameters.
Yeah, kind of solving the structure all at once, you know. And you see the examples of that system already in nature. For example, kind of ant's nest or something, or termite nest, or a tree. If you imagine, tree is a kind of transport facility, is structural facility, is the light catching facility, everything at once, and it was developed out of very simple algorithms that are kind of developing. So this is, for me, this is the opportunity, and it's not possible with a lot of hard work to develop.
Thank you. I hope Philip will excuse us and will ask personally Sampa the question he has here, if it is okay, because our time is over, unfortunately. Even we could carry on with the discussion, of course, during the event, which is happening right after. So, Olli, let's close it up.
Yeah, so I would like, I mean, I'm from, as it was mentioned several times, Slovak Chamber of Architects, so I will connect with the New European Bauhaus again. And as we mentioned already, the importance of, when it was launched in September 2020 with some kind of ambitions, there were two sentences which I find very matching for today's event, and especially the presentations and interventions by all the guests present. It's about empowering those who have the solutions for the climate crisis. It's about matching sustainability with style. It's about all of us.
Perfect, thank you.
Amen. Ursula von der Leyen, not me.
Do you have a karaoke system while we're up here and we have the microphone?
We have a karaoke upstairs, just ready for you. Don't worry, it's all set already.
We Are the World.
Yes, we could, of course, all together. So this is the official end of the panel discussion. So we have one more thing to mention, but before this conclusion, maybe some wrap-up, we would kindly ask you to, maybe just join the others so we can have a floor for final words from our hosts.
So, thank you very much for being present, and maybe if you would like to clap once more time.
Thank you very much.
Not for us.